Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. It's your boy back again, Roddy. I want to welcome you to the Players Ball Podcast, where we cover all sports far and wide. Again, I am your host, Roddy. You can follow this podcast on Twitter at the Players Ball 1, as well as on Instagram at the Players Ball Podcast. And then go ahead and follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well. My Instagram is Roddy404, and then my Twitter is going to be Roddy Remastered. Now, y'all already know what we're here to talk about. We can cut the music, there's really nothing else to speak about. We're going to have a relatively short show today. It's been a pretty light, week in between our Tuesday and our Thursday show. It usually is. We do have one topic for the big three, which is good. And it's pretty interesting because I talked about it on Tuesday, but we saw utter chaos on Wednesday and Tuesday, the day actually. So we'll get into that a little bit. But like I said, y'all already know what y'all came here for. Y'all came here for just very biased opinions, unbalanced topics. It's just, I can't be objective in this series because what Trae Young is doing is utterly ridiculous. I am a very hard grader, and I'm not saying I was the ultimate point guard in high school, right? I did play the position. I did play on varsity. I did play every game my senior year, right? But I didn't make it to any higher level of basketball or, any kind of combines or camps or anything like that, okay? So I'm not claiming to be, just the all-knowing point guard person. I just am not. But I am really hard on guards in the NBA in terms of how I feel about them, just because we haven't really seen a whole bunch of great ones in the past 20 years. We've seen Steph, we've seen Kyrie, right? And of course we have CP3, but honestly, in terms of, guards that are really going to change the game, guards that are really going to affect the game in ways that only the special true superstar guards can, I can really only, off the top of my head, count 3 of them. And it's the 3 guys that I mentioned. Now, what Trae is doing is really remarkable because not only is it his first playoffs, right, but he's having games where he's not playing his best. He's turning the ball over, he's not shooting well. Obviously, that was last game, and he's still producing. And that is my biggest credit that I can give to any player. When you're playing bad, especially a point guard, should I say, when you're playing bad, are you going to be effective in other ways so you're not making your team play 4-on-5? That is going to be my biggest concern, because if you're just not having a good night, you're just got your head down, not shooting well, you're not passing, you're forcing stuff, you're just doing all this crazy, nonsense in order to get yourself hot, then I look at you in a different light. But with Trae, it's man, I'm not knocking down anything tonight, but I'm going to make sure I get 10 assists. I'm going to make sure that somebody else on my team has a dub at least. And in the closeout game for the Sixers, that was Kevin Huerter. And last night, it was him. And again, man, just doing whatever he wants. And I wasn't as nervous about this series as other people were, because I'm look, to me personally, we've played the 2 hardest defensive teams in this conference already. It's Philly and it is definitely New York. Those 2 are amazing defensive teams. They have amazing defenders on them. Ben Simmons, Thibault, RJ Barrett is damn good as a defender as well. Reggie Bullock was showing, his prowess defensively as well. They just have really good wing and guard defenders, right? And Trae just calmed the storm. He wasn't scoring 50 every game, but he was doing what his team needed him to do. And again, I get y'all, everybody out there that's saying he, committing insurance fraud by making you run into him and, jumping and flailing and doing everything. But look, man, until they change the rule next year, it's going to happen. So use it to your advantage instead of complaining about somebody who's doing that, you know? But that's just me. But anyway, like, I just can't remember a coming out or a coming of age like this. Like, I really truly cannot remember anything that's even comparable to like this. I mean, Steph had his run where he just came out and, was on fire and, but he had the team structure around him. He had Clay, which, even though I think this team has a lot of good guys, I don't think this team has a Klay Thompson, a guy that can just knock down shots, shoot from wherever, score however, not really need to dribble the ball at all type scorer. Like, I just don't think that team has that. But that's fine. Like, we're still getting it done. And if I'm going to be honest, man, John Collins, over the last 3-4 games, man, he has showed up. I have to give him credit because I'm super hard on him because I know how great he can be. And last night he showed it, man. He really showed it. When this guy is confident in attack mode, really knowing that, hey, I am our second option. Like, I am really the guy that they're going to look towards if Trae's not getting it going. I'm going to have to hit shots. I'm going to have to make sure I'm getting rebounds. And that's the two most important things that I think he did last night. Make his open shots and rebound like a monster against, honestly, two really good rebounders in Giannis and Brook Lopez. And to think that Brook Lopez only had one American rebound last night. It's just incredible. Like, I cannot even fathom, how far this team can go if they're going to get production like this out of these two guys. So, look, the role players played all right as well. Gallo has just been, I did not expect him to be the veteran that just is our crazy foundation, but like Gallo, man, he's so important to this team, man. He's just so important to this team. And I know he can't move at all, but he's just too important. And honestly, I'm concerned with Bogey. I really am. He looks like he can't move either. He was missing a lot of shots, but he's overcompensating. I can see it. When your knee has an injury, usually if it's hurting and, you're not really thinking about it, you're just going to go through your regular shooting motion. But since you don't have the same amount of power in that leg, your lift is automatically going to be a little shorter, which you saw at the beginning of the game, a lot of shots hitting front rim. And then as the second half went on, you saw a little bit more effort in terms of, his launch and release and a lot of back rim. So he just has to find that groove of, look, man, this is a comfortable, position for me. This is how I have to shoot. And that's just what it's going to be. But defensively, I think if the Bucks don't take advantage of them, they need to fire their coach. Because, again, this will be the second series where they haven't fully taken advantage of a guy basically playing on one leg. So, look, I don't expect the Bucks to get swept, obviously. Like, they're probably, if I had to put money on it, probably going to win game 2. But I think they know now. This team can beat us. I think they know it now. Like, I think in, the beginning of the series last night, they were kind of optimistic and, they were kind of just feeling them out a little bit. But now I think they know, hey, if we aren't on our P's and Q's, this team is going to beat us, y'all. Like, and that's just straight up. But if they play solid defensively, they get a lot out of Giannis and they adjust, man. Like, they just don't want to adjust. And I don't understand why. But unless they adjust, they are going to get beat. So we're going to keep tuned to this series, obviously. We're going to have more for y'all on next Tuesday. Game 2 is on Friday. That means that Game 3 should be on Sunday. And then, Monday, it will, be some analysis for us to talk about. So, man, if you have money on the Hawks, I'm just saying, keep it, man. Keep it. Let it just play out and see what happens because, again, this team is special, man. They are really special, and they really are in the position to do something great. All right, man. Now we Got that out the way. Let's get into our news segment real quick. In some NBA news, Celtics hire Ime Udoka as their new head coach, first African, of official African descent coach in the NBA. So congrats to him. He's also married to Nia Long. So, y'all do with that information as you will. But that seems like a good life to live as well. In more news, Chris Paul, he's looking to return game 3. And now look, man, Clips, I feel like he did this on purpose. Did he do this on purpose? Like, it's so convenient how he's going to come back game 3 in LA, returning to, LA. Well, he already lives there, right? He's there quarantining. But he was a Clipper for a majority of his prime. He couldn't get over the hump. This is a team that he couldn't take to the same position that the Clippers are in right now, right? Like, so it has to be something that he is thinking about because, if you know Chris Paul, he's petty, he's a little vindictive, he's a little crazy, but I really think that if he plays well, if he's up to standards, man, there's no chance for the Clippers. If Kawhi doesn't come back, there's just no chance. I don't want to say they get swept. I really do think they can win game 3 or 4, but I definitely know that the Suns are going to win game either 3 or 4. Like, they're going to split this in LA because, just on the road as well, the Suns are a really good team, man. Like, they're a really, really good team. And the stat is that, our Hawks have the most road wins in this year's playoffs at 6. And the Suns have 4, I believe, either 4 or 5. So, they're no slouch on the road as well. They're in second place in terms of that statistic. But, when you have Book, he's not going to play a bad game like he did, the other night. Ayton, I don't really think there's an answer for him with Zubats or whoever they're going to throw at him. And then, the guards are just playing amazing defense. Like, Jay Crowder and Mikal Bridges are snapping on the defensive end. So, shout out to them boys because, I really think the Suns are as complete a team defensively and offensively as possible. So, shout out to them. Now, to go across the pond, Germany absolutely stinks. I don't know if it's their tactics with their coach. I don't know if it's they're tired because, a lot of their players have been playing significant minutes. I don't know what it is, but this team has talent. They might not be as talented as their World Cup year in 2014, but this team has talent. And I don't know if they have the coaching, like I said, but they should not be allowing 2 goals to Hungary. And if you watched any of that game, it's not as if, Hungary was like, oh, well, we're just going to hit you on the counter and, luck into a goal, based off of a mistake on that. No, it wasn't that. It was Hungary controlling possession, even though Germany had more of the ball. It was them controlling possession, making the Germans press and chase them. And it was them getting through balls, running through channels, and eventually getting those 2 goals that they got. Honestly, the first goal that they allowed was a banger of a goal. Like the header, the pass, everything. So, look, man, Germany's on to the next round. They have to play England. Those are the 2 teams where I feel like they're going to disappoint the most. So, obviously, one has to go home, and we'll be looking at the one who loses a lot more critically than the other one, as we should, because their performances in the group stage have been very lackluster and, designed way, way more. So that's just what it is. Now, to keep it in the Euros, France is not looking impressive either, to be honest with you. They haven't had a game where I'm like, oh, okay, that's France. They're dominant. That's who they are. No, it's not been that. It's been, a streak of luck against Portugal, getting that penalty. It's getting an own goal against Germany, and it's drawing with Hungary, So those 3 displays aren't really making me feel confident about me saying that they're the favorites. Like, I really feel like that maybe Italy's the favorite. Like, they've looked the best throughout their 3 games, and they've been the most consistent. They have an easier round of 16 matchup with Switzerland. No, they don't play Switzerland. They play someone else. But, with Italy, you're just seeing it, right? With Belgium, you're seeing it a little bit, right? But Germany, France, even Portugal at some points, like you're not really seeing it. And I think you got to see it in order for you to believe in the team is going to go all the way, especially in a tournament as difficult as this. So we'll see how it plays out. But I don't know. I'm not feeling well about it. Spain, they finally show out, though. They finally get a 5-0 win against Slovakia, and they scored. Like, that was the craziest thing. They scored. And, I mean, really, they are not as bad as we are advertising. Like, they do have great players who could put the ball in the back of the net. But there was so much of a focus on, playing within our system, passing the ball around, making sure we're playing the quote-unquote right way type of thing. And it just wasn't the correct way. It's not like modern football. It's not going to be successful. So I'm glad they were extremely aggressive. They got balls in. They ran through channels. They got some great finishing. I mean, Marcus Llorente's goal was crazy. And that's all they need, man. And I know it's, easy more to say than to do. But if you can get that type of consistency, man, they're going to be a great team. They're going to be a great team in the future. But right now, I think they're, best to try to win this round of 16 game and then see what happens from there. But anything after that would be success to me, based on how they're constructed. Now, to bring it back over here, I just wanted to announce some of the big names that are going to be taking place in the USA basketball team for this year's Olympics. We have Zach LaVine committed, so is Jeremy Grant, KD, Dame, Brad Beal, Jason Tatum, Draymond, and Chris Middleton. I don't really think you need anyone else. Like James Harden pulled out because of his hamstring injury, obviously, but I mean, I don't think you can ask for anything else. And I don't think another team, unless I'm mistaken, is stacked up to do anything against that. So obviously, Serbia losing Jokic was huge. He's not going to play this year. And I just don't see Team USA losing. So it'll be 3 in a row, man. I don't know what we need to do. There's a lot of arguments that we should probably stop caring about this because it's taken away from our NBA game, putting a lot of more stress and strenuous, activities on our younger guys. And I get it, but, I still want to win. That's just how I am. But that is going to be our news segment. Now, let's get into the big 3. That's really the big one. All right, man. Time for the big 3, a.k.a. the big one. And our one most important topic is this sticky stuff madness. Now, we talked about this on Monday. We kind of went over what the rule was, how, players were upset that they were being, kind of regulated like this in the middle of the season, not really having a chance to find any alternative options in order to assist them with the grip on the ball. And that is the biggest thing, is the grip on the baseball. And as it gets into the colder months, it's going to be more difficult for those cold weather cities. So I don't know what the MLB is going to do, but let me just remind you that Rob Manfred is probably the worst commissioner in all of sports. I mean, we're going to have to put some sexy music behind this clip because, dude, like, these dudes are being forced to basically strip on the field, getting checked, and there's no limitations or anything in order to mandate these checks or regulate them in any way. So really, they're just doing it based off of either their own discretion, the umpires, or the other manager's discretion, which, I mean, we could be going all day. Like, great, another thing to make baseball more boring. And Manfred just keeps doing this, man. Like, I don't understand this guy. I really don't. Like, I don't understand why you want the game to be so boring. Like, it's just baffling to me. It's mind-blowing. So you got these guys basically stripping on the field, trying to, not show up the umpires, like everybody's been saying. This is showing up Rob Manfred. This is showing up the MLB. This is sitting here saying, you know how stupid this looks? You know how everybody is laughing at us for like the 4th or 5th season in a row because we did some dumb-ish, and now we have to get laughed at by the entire sports world? Like, at a point, this gotta be embarrassing. But again, the reason he won't leave is because he's lining these owners' pockets. He's making these deals behind the scenes. He's getting his TV money out. Like, the fact that baseball players are still paid an astronomically high amount of money, based on the popularity of the game, how that's sunk, how a lot of people are straying away from it, how these ballparks are losing attendance, yet and still these guys are being paid more than ever. So these deals, the ink on these deals, they've been dry. Like, they know how to make money over there at the MLB. Not going to ever say that Rob Manfred doesn't know how to do that. But come on, dog. Like, you cannot be having a total spectacle of people just really showing you up. And this, again, is not the first time that this has happened. Like, this is really the 4th year in a row. If you want to talk about the cheating scandals with the Red Sox, if you want to talk about the cheating scandals with the Astros, of course, if you want to talk about him calling the trophy a hunk of metal, if you want to go back to this BS that he's doing now, like, there's so many things to point at year after year for the past 5 years where we can see this dude just does not know what he's doing. And if we continue to just coddle him and be like, well, he's making the owners money and we're making more money than we ever had, the game is going to go down the drain. None of these TV companies, when it's time to re-up again, are going to be like, yeah, baseball is worth it, because they've basically disintegrated the game and they've, amounted it to just this contest of, pure skill and this and that, which is just, it's so irritating. It's just so irritating. So hopefully the MLB can get it together, man, because I don't really see this getting any better. I think there are going to be more pitchers that get showed up. I think every time a pitcher is dominant, they're going to get checked every 2-3 innings. Even if a guy has a no-hitter going or a perfect game going, is this going to be a strategy that other managers are using to disrupt that? Like, you're really affecting the flow of the game and strategy. So, again, man, if MLB thinks this is a good idea, if they think this is smart, and whatever they think this is, then go ahead. But watch your game go to hell because you were trying to uphold the rules of the game for the good old boys club. Like, it's just ridiculous. But I guess that's why I'm not the commissioner of the MLB. Now, thank you guys for listening. This has been another episode of the Players Ball Podcast, where we cover all sports far and wide. Again, I am your host. Please follow us on Instagram at the Players Ball Podcast, as well as on Twitter at the Players Ball 1. And then again, follow me on Twitter at Roddy Remastered, and then on Instagram at Roddy404. Thank you guys for listening. We're having, a jam-packed weekend. We're going to have picks as well for Euros. The round of 16 is going to start on Saturday, so that's going to be exciting. We'll have our Hawks playing tomorrow, which is great. Y'all make sure to stay tuned. I might have a pick or two tonight for the game, and, we'll holla at y'all later. All right?